The REDMAGIC 9 Pro just launched in the global markets, and while it mainly focuses on performance and gaming, it brings some welcomed changes such as an all-new design, as well as some much-needed camera improvements. The 50-megapixel main sensor now supports OIS, there's a new 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and the under-display selfie camera has also improved a bit. There are of course multiple other improvements such as literally no camera bump, the inclusion of the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset, an upgraded dedicated gaming chip and cooling system, and even a larger battery with faster charging. Other than the device itself, there's a hard shell case in the box, as well as a 6-amp charging cable and an 80-watt charging block. This is TechNick, and this is my full review of the most extreme smartphone ever, the REDMAGIC 9 Pro. The phone just got announced globally, so I'll be sure to leave the price list in the comment section down below. The good news is that this is a full global launch, which covers North America, South America, Europe, the UK, the Middle East, and Asia, so it shouldn't be too hard to pick one up if you're keen. The new design looks absolutely incredible, and it's now even slimmer, even though we are treated to an even better camera setup. And that's thanks to the new camera module, or should I say lack thereof, since there is literally no camera bump whatsoever. All three lenses are tucked into the glass backplate, which consists of a 50-megapixel ISOCELL GN5 main sensor that sits just above the RGB turbofan and supports optical image stabilization. Above that is the new 50-megapixel ISOCELL JN1 ultra-wide camera, which is a huge step up from its predecessor's 8-megapixel snapper, and under the flash you'll find the same 2-megapixel macro sensor. The macro camera still takes just average shots at best. The ultra-wide camera can take high-res images, but bin down images seem to control exposure better, and the same can be said when taking a snap with the main camera, which actually leads to flagship level results. There is no telephoto camera here, so we can only zoom in digitally by up to 10 times, and even though there is a portrait mode option, taking a regular photo of a human subject seems to come out superior. 8K video is limited to the main cam, but it looks fantastic and comes out filled with detail, and both the ultra-wide and main cameras can shoot very detailed 4K 60fps video with more than decent stabilization. The ultra-wide camera might not be the best when filming at night, but the main sensor provides fairly decent nighttime video. Both sensors produce excellent night photos when using night mode, but the main camera once again takes the lead. Night mode can be used at up to 10 times digital zoom, but I don't really recommend shooting past 2 times if you care about detail. And just like with day pics, the main photo mode takes a much better snap of a human subject at night when compared to portrait mode. Camera performance is not exactly class leading, but it is a big step up for the company, especially since the main camera now has OIS and we now have a proper ultra-wide sensor this year. That said, this is a gaming phone after all, so anything camera related, in my opinion, is just a bonus. So let's get back to that refined design. There are 3 different color options. You can pick it up in Sleet, which has a solid black backplate, Snowfall, which has a white transparent back, or Cyclone, which is the same as Snowfall, but is black instead of white. I was sent the latter, which isn't as transparent as previous models, but it has all the gold text you would want to show off to your friends, and also has RGB lights, which now includes the text number 9, as well as light strips on the touch triggers, which offer the same 520Hz touch sampling rate and 7.4 millisecond response time, but they are now larger and have improved sweat resistance and sensitivity, making them easier to use. The active cooling fan also has RGB lighting, which now has more light effects and can be customized in settings, and now spins even faster at 22,000 RPM. This fan is included in the new ICE 13 cooling system, which now makes use of an even larger vapor chamber. The backplate is made from protective glass and the device weighs in at 229 grams. The side frames are made from aviation grade aluminum and the phone is just 8.9 millimeters thick. The screen is protected by Gorilla Glass 5, and in case you haven't already noticed, there is no selfie camera in sight. That's because the REDMAGIC 9 Pro makes use of a 5th generation under display selfie camera. The screen covering the selfie camera was made in collaboration with BOE and includes 7 transparent layers mixed in with a specialized AMOLED panel to match the entire display's improved screen brightness. The selfie camera itself is the same 16 megapixel sensor, and unfortunately image quality is still very much lacking, especially in terms of exposure. But at the end of the day, this is an under-display camera, so you can't really expect much, though it would have been nice to see some more post-processing clean things up.
What's up guys, this is Technic recording a 1080p 30fps selfie video on the brand new REDMAGIC 9 Pro. Unfortunately, selfie video performance is not the best and there's no 4K video mode option, but that's the compromise you just have to be willing to take if you want that all-screen experience.
Video, especially at night, is seriously disappointing when using the selfie camera. And though taking a selfie at night doesn't look terrible, using the flash is a no-go, as this directly affects the selfie lens. But at the end of the day, the purpose of a hidden selfie cam is not for selfie performance, but rather for an all-screen experience. So poor selfie quality is just a compromise you have to be willing to take if you want that breathtaking all-screen display. And it really is a sight to behold if you have not yet used a REDMAGIC 8 or 8S Pro, as the actual screen is identical. It's a very squared off BOE Q9 Plus flat 6.8-inch AMOLED panel, which is extremely immersive with no interruptions and razor-thin bezels. It has a 10-bit color depth, which is capable of displaying 100% of the DCI-P3 color space, packs in DC dimming, and supports HDR10 and Widevine L1 content. It has a fixed 120Hz screen refresh rate with an instant touch sampling rate of 2000Hz and overall touch sampling rate of 960Hz. But the most noteworthy upgrade over its predecessor is its bump up in display brightness, which now sits at a max of 1600 nits. When it comes to software, the REDMAGIC 9 Pro makes use of REDMAGIC OS 9 skinned over Android 14. It comes packed with full Google services and all Google goodies, such as Google Discover to the left of the home screen, Google Assistant with a simple swipe up gesture, and full access to the Google Play Store. It looks and feels very stock-like, but is still packed with useful customization options such as interactive widgets. Another huge upgrade this year is a larger 6500 mAh battery, which can be filled up in just 35 minutes thanks to improved and faster 80-watt wired charging, and it is kept cool while charging thanks to that new cooling system which I mentioned earlier, which includes that new faster turbo cooling fan, which no doubt helps heat dissipation when pushing all of its new hardware to its limits. That includes the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 CPU, which can reach a max core clock speed of 3.3 GHz, the new Red Core 2 Pro dedicated gaming chip, which helps ease the load, next gen LPDDR5X RAM, and faster than ever UFS 4.0 storage. Pairing all of this along with REDMAGIC's high-performance Diablo mode makes for some seriously high scores across multiple different benchmarks, with a big emphasis on GPU performance, which should lead to a more than impressive gaming experience. Just like all REDMAGIC devices before it, the 9 Pro has a unique game space switch on the right of the device, which takes you to its gaming hub, where you can customize its look, play around with REDMAGIC's mascot Mora, and dig into game-specific settings. You can open any game directly from GameSpace, and once you are in, there is an insane amount of features to mess around with, which can be found within the GameSpace overlay. I've touched base with most of these features in my previous REDMAGIC review videos, but my favorites include Charge Bypass, which uses charger power instead of the actual battery, Info Panel, which adds an always-on FPS counter as an overlay, and of course shoulder triggers, which can be customized in so many ways it's a bit overwhelming. But since I like to keep things simple, I tend to leave the triggers on single tap, which offers the most authentic controller-like experience. I did mention earlier that the physical touch triggers are now larger, and it wasn't until I started playing that I actually noticed quite a large difference. They are now so much easier to use. Speaking of controllers, you can easily hook up a Bluetooth controller to your REDMAGIC device and then use your phone's USB port, which actually doubles up as a display port, to connect to an external monitor for a true console-like experience. There's a separate game hub for this with access to all of your favorite games, and once you're in, it's easy to forget you're actually playing on a smartphone. But things are taken even further since you can even boot up a second game on your phone's display, which means you can play 2 games at once. I'm not sure I'd ever play 2 games at the same time, but the fact that this small phone can actually run 2 games simultaneously is mind-blowing to say the least. When it comes to actual gaming performance, the REDMAGIC 9 Pro does not disappoint. We managed a very stable 120 FPS while playing Real Racing 3, and that uninterrupted display makes gaming so insanely enjoyable. Call of Duty Mobile can now also reach 120 frames per second when set to ultra frame rate mode, and just like with Real Racing 3, we were also able to achieve a rock solid 120 FPS the entire time playing with no signs of overheating at all. Genshin Impact is a much more demanding game, especially when setting all graphical settings to the max, and the REDMAGIC 9 Pro didn't even break a sweat, averaging a steady 60 FPS, which is actually very impressive since that's the frame rate cap of this game. Just like its predecessor, REDMAGIC's latest flagship sticks to the same hardware connectivity such as Bluetooth 5.3, NFC, dual SIM 5G and Wi-Fi 7, and makes use of a USB 3.1 Type-C port, which as you saw earlier doubles up as a display port, a new large 0815 super linear vibration motor for improved haptic feedback, an enhanced 3.5mm headphone jack, and packs in dual 3-dimensional 1115K speakers with 5 magnetic sound units, Snapdragon sound, and DTS:X Ultra. So let's go ahead and give them a listen.
With the wind!
Go, go, Berry Buddy!
There have been so many powerful flagship releases in 2023, including a few from REDMAGIC themselves, but the REDMAGIC 9 Pro takes everything that made its predecessors great and built on that to deliver the best gaming-centric smartphone I have ever tested. All the new hardware changes, including Qualcomm's latest chipset, makes this the most powerful phone on the planet, and all the new design, camera, display, battery, and charging improvements make this the best REDMAGIC device to hit global shelves. It's more than a decent upgrade over the REDMAGIC 8 and 8S Pro, and a substantial upgrade over all previous REDMAGIC devices. Let me know your thoughts on another one of the world's most powerful smartphones. This is Tech Nick, and I'll catch you in the next one.